Kamon, I want to introduce you to Mike Voss. Mike is our parts and service manager. His dad is Dean, who started the company. So Mike has been crawling around these machines since he was 17 years old. There really isn't anything he doesn't know about them. Why don't we have him tell you what to do if you were to just receive a Classic and it was brand new?
Hi, I'm Kamon Reynolds, and in this video, I'm with Chris up here in Michigan, and we're interviewing Mike with Hummerbee about maintenance. What are the things that I need to do to take care of my nice Hummerbee that I've just purchased? And I'm going to put chapters in this video so it's easy for you and me to find the details in the future. Let's get started.
Yeah, so these are pretty simple. There's not a lot of grease zerks on the machine. The first thing you're going to want to know are the simple maintenance daily stuff you want to do. So to start off with, on the Hummerbee Classic, your engine oil dipstick is right in here. And you just, to get that, you just pull it out, look at it, check the oil every day, wipe it off, and then you'll see it should be between the lines. And then you can just stick it right back in the hole right there. So very important. Now when it comes along with the engine oil, you're going to have an initial service of 50 hours on the engine oil. That's for Kubota. Somewhere within the first 50 hours, they want you to change the engine oil and the filter. Very important, actually, because if there was ever an engine warranty issue and it's more than 50 hours and it still has the original filter on it, Kubota will not cover the warranty on the engine.
So definitely do that.
Do that, definitely. Now, other things to do, daily grease. So the grease zerks on this machine are all from here forward, okay?
Okay.
Your tilt cylinders will have a grease zerk, one on each end of it. Also your steering cylinder will have a grease zerk, one on each end. So that is 6 grease zerks. Then for your center joints, there's a zerk for the top joint right here, and you actually reach right in there to get it. One on the bottom one.
Okay.
And then the one, there is a zerk behind on the floor, but you get it from a remote right there. So that is all greased in front of the machine.
Okay, so got a remote right here, and you got
Yep,
one in
that
this
one's-
section,
yep.
one down in here,
Yep. And then each end of that cylinder.
and here, and on the other side, and then of course here, and up there.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty easy. That's not too hard. And you know how it might depend on how much you run these things throughout the year. But I mean, if you were running this thing regularly, I mean, how often do you think you would need to probably pack those?
So grease gun cylinders, not as often. Okay. You can kind of see the grease coming out of the cylinder. It'll make a mark, bulge out of there. Those are not as important that you do it daily. Okay. The 3 center joint ones, that's a daily thing. And I would say, if I just put a number on it, I would say you should grease them every 6 machine hours, okay, which would be half to a full day. Okay, let's just say a full day. But the important thing about those joints is that a lot of beekeepers trailer their machine, okay, and they don't all think about
No, I wouldn't think about that. I see where you're going, though.
doing this on the trailer the whole time. So I always tell people that if you trailer it a lot, you need to think of greasing your center joints as trailer time counting towards machine time, okay, as far as the grease on there. That's just one thing that I did this for years before I realized a machine that sits on a farm, say a fruit farm, that doesn't ever get trailered, they don't have to grease it as often. And they don't call me because they didn't grease their parts and they wore them out as often. So.
Well, that makes sense. So yeah, I guess if you trailer it up and you go from Texas to California, and that's a lot of hours. And I have my F350 dually, and let's just be honest, the roads up to Michigan, some of them aren't the greatest. I mean, I kind of wish I would have had a load behind me. I was limped the whole way and just boom, boom, boom. So yeah, I could see pack them. I'd have never guessed. I know that it's important to grease. My grandpa worked for Lucas Oil, and he was always like, everything runs on lubrication, Cam. You got to keep things lubricated. But I still would have guessed it would have been longer than that. So that's really important information. I appreciate you sharing that.
That could be slightly often, but 8 hours a day, a normal day, I would say, that's greasing is a is a daily item.
So one of the gentlemen here was talking about even mounting a grease gun to the machine,
Yeah.
just so it's always there, and as you think of it, just bam, 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 hit them real quick. And
Yeah.
so oil,
Great
grease, all that kind of stuff. You know, the filter on this
Air
dillium,
filter?
air filter, oil filter. Where are those?
Yep. So your air filter on this machine is right here. It's easy to get to. All you have to do to check it is there's a little spring tab here, one just like it underneath. Pull that off. Nice clean filter here. So you just look at it. If it's dirty, pull it out, and I take this, just turn it around so I'm not going to get any dirt in this end, and I'll just tap it, okay? You'll see dirt fall out if it's dirty. There'll be a lot of dirt fall out. You can blow these out. Just take a air nozzle and carefully blow them out. It'll take the dirt out. Tap them out first. This is a safety element right here. This is also changeable, okay? That pulls out just like the other one.
Oh, wow.
And it just sits in the spot there. This one actually holds it in place. The lid holds this in place. So those are simple. That one you can tap out if it gets real dirty. And this actually, how often should you check it? Depends on where you're running it. You know, if it's been real wet outside and in winter, you're not going to have to check it very often. If it's dirty and dusty, then check it more often. This is it's called a ejector valve or actuator, they call it. When it's running, it'll push dirt that collects in here out of that little nipple right there.
Never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, this is the company that builds the housings.
So when I do need a filter, is this something I can get at a regular auto parts, or something I call you guys? You know, kind of what would I do?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. On the label here, it's a little bit hard to see. There's a number there, but even better, we have put up a label now under the seat, okay? So if you want to just look right through here, you can see it. I'll just push the seat up, and right there is all your filter numbers for the machine, okay? And it's specific to your machine. And there's a couple other part numbers on there, things guys might want at some time. So
That's awesome. So that's our air filter, and then our oil filter.
oil filter is also under the seat. This is a little harder to see probably on camera, but it's right down through between the alternator, right down there between the oil or the water bottle.
And so that's something I'd service from underneath.
You would get
the
to that
machine.
one from underneath. Yep.
Chris, why don't you crawl up under there? No, I'm kidding.
Well, we got this open. You can see, you know, your battery's right here, easy to get to. If you ever had a problem, someone left your key on or something, you can just open here and get hooked up to it. So.
Yeah, that's real convenient, easy to access. The hydraulic oil, yeah. So that's something I don't know a whole lot about. I've used a few tractors here and there, but not a lot. So I don't know nothing about the longevity of hydraulic oil. So what do you think about that?
So on hydraulic oil, we recommend you change your first oil change at 500 hours, okay? That's about 2 years for most beekeepers, or a lot of beekeepers will run about 200 hours a year, I see, on a machine. There's two filters underneath also for that, they're larger. And then, of course, how do we check this, right?
Right.
So this has got a dipstick on the lid here, and I don't know if I'm strong enough to take the lid loose. Yep. So we can do this right now. But what you would do is, it's important, there's lines on this dipstick, okay? And they are right there, so it says max. What's important is that maximum level is, don't ever fill it above that if the machine, or ever. But if the machine's not hot, you don't want it that full. You want the oil somewhere here in the first inch and a half, the bottom half of it. Because this oil will expand as you warm the machine up and use it. If it gets too full, then if it sloshes, there's a little foam filter in here, but it can push oil out of your breather, because this is a breather cap. What that'll do then is make a mess on your tank. So
500 hours, and at that's the same time I need to change the filters as well.
correct, yep.
Okay.
So on this machine here, the Classic, the filters are mounted below the oil level, down at the bottom of the tank. So you want to drain the tank first. Otherwise, the first guy that pulls the filter off will understand
Why.
lubrication. Yes. So it drains the tank.
Well, that's good to know. I usually learn the hard way, so this will be a first. So a pretty simple machine though overall, low maintenance. Just primarily don't let things get too full, too low, too old. Keep things fresh. You know, is there anything else that you can think of as far as just maintenance on anything else, tires, anything like that you can think of?
Tires, this particular one has foam filled, so there's very little maintenance on the tires. Yes, solid fill. You can tell that on our machine because it'll have a nail in it when you get it, okay? That nail is free. We don't charge for it.
All right.
But what it is it, when they fill the tires, they put that to the top and they put a needle in it to let all the air out so you get 100% fill. And when it starts pushing the two-part urethane out that hole, they put a nail in it which holds it so they can simulate the pressure of 25 psi and not have stuff keep coming out the hole. So that's what
Nice.
it's for. We leave them in there because it's not going to hurt a thing, and it makes it easy for us to tell that they're foam filled.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got a lot of nice options. I went with the turbo too because
Yep.
I wanted a little bit more strength as we're moving some honey supers and stuff around, and I don't see myself anytime soon having multiple of these units. So I thought it was a nice in between the three standard models, but. You know, these I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm trying not to be too destructive.
Right. Yeah, they're good little machines. The only other thing I can think of is on your chains, on your mast, you should lubricate them. They will stretch. There is an adjustment on those, okay?
Okay.
So if your machine is setting level, say with your forks on the ground, I usually will stick a 1/2 inch board under the heel of the fork. And then all you have to do is take the slack out of the chain and you can pull on them. These feel equal and you're up to adjustment. When you take that board out, then the forks won't drag on the floor when you're running around. So it gives you a little clearance, keeps your forks lasting longer. The other thing it'll do is your bearings on this mast, if the chains stretch a lot, the bottom bearing won't ride where it needs to, okay? So that's important to keep that adjusted. Lubricate them with there's a lot of commercial chain lubes out there. Spray bottles. I like one with graphite in it, okay? 2 reasons. One, when you spray it on it, the chains are nice and black, okay? Second reason is graphite will continue to lube, you know, after it gets in the weather some, so.
Nice. So how often do you think you need to just check those chains?
Well, you can tell because they'll start to change color. They'll start to look rusty again, just lube them. So it's kind of the same thing. If this sits outside a lot, it's going to need a lot of it,
Sure.
more often. So.
And then as far as adjustment goes, how, you know, just kind of keep an eye on that and as
Yep.
needed?
Yep. If you let your forks down and these are loose or flopping around, or if you start seeing a lot of where they're swinging, say you set them clear down on your trailer, you'll notice that there'll be some marks you'll see there. So yeah, but you probably would have a daily grease cycle, a weekly grease cycle. Probably just look at them when you grease your cylinders.
So just keep all that stuff handy.
Yeah.
And I just put a toolbox on my truck. Probably just keep that stuff stashed in there, ready to use.
Yeah.
And just like my grandpa said, and he wasn't wrong, you know, the world runs on lubrication. Got to keep these things going. So,
Yep. Yep.
Mike, I really appreciate your time and what you do.
problem.
And I'm sure I'll be calling you and annoying you at some point because the squeaky wheel gets the grease.